Hello, this is Gerald Turvanwas. I have developed a method which I could call the 1, 2, 3 method, because the letters that we have and that we make words with are also kind of orientations which are available into a structure that we can realize as a 1, 2, 3 option all the time. 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3. And this 1, 2, 3 is like in the space, horizontal, vertical, diagonal, until you notice where the things are, somewhere in between this horizontal, vertical, diagonal, in between these 3 zones that are possible. Within 1 point of orientation you can find the place, and there are 9 letters that define the options that you have there, so that you can realize them from there. If it's not available into 1 point, okay, then we have the option, maybe it's somewhere else. It can be there later. Anyhow, you use 2 focuses, the before and after, everything in time. If that is even not possible, that you can have the things within a certain range of time, and you don't see the space and you don't see the time focus, you have a 1, 2, 3 option in total. So where you can have a formula where you can see, okay, but what is a formula that we can use, and you can see where it fits at this moment. That's basically my theory. Now that's a theory, and I have a resume there as well. But how can we prove it? Now, we don't have a visualization available, that we have everything that we hear, we can immediately visualize so well. We're not so very good at it. But sounds have frequencies, and they have actually, we have tools to make it visible. And what we realize there, what we can recognize there in these frequencies of all these letters, should be actually completely the same as the theory, when the theory is right. And that I will do in this video. The principles, I will tell you about the principles. I will do these in 3 parts. There are principles that you can recognize in the frequencies, and they are the same ones as the things that we recognize, and that's how you can realize that, okay, but that we also use a certain logic there. The 3 regions that I have of the 3 levels of orientation into 1 focus, 2 focus, or 3 focuses are can also be derived to a focus into 1 point as the certainty. So there we say, yes, I have the one, I have my focus onto the object. That's objective, that's physical, that's real, that's reality. But if it's not there at this moment, so we have to look for the moment, or maybe it's later, so it's in time, that's the focus into 2. Basically, this starts from no, it's not there. Now, no, now, so we have to notice where it is, and that's the time aspect. The third one is neither yes or no. It is actually the realization in time and space where the formula should meet the odds. So we should be realize here the reality of what we can realize, what is actually present at this moment, or at which moment that it is present. The frequencies that I told you, we hear them, so we hear this balance, and this hearing this balance is also using this 1, 2, 3 option. Now, if you look at all the frequencies in every sound, first thing that will be noticed, there's more, but it is the first 3 regions actually. The first one is around 1000 megahertz. It's the basic. So when you hear the basic tone, then they are around 1 megahertz. If you hear the things that come immediately to you there is a body, so it will receive a certain body, and this body will formulate itself around 2000 megahertz. And there you will also see within this body certain changes that can happen, so over a certain time. And that's where you also can realize that and visualize actually that yes, with around 2000 megahertz you have this second degree of orientation. And we need time for it, because if something is changing and we hear it changing and we hear it that it changed, and into this range we have a time aspect, and that's the second category. The last category are the resonances or the reflections, and every tone has also a certain resonance, reflections. It's very hard to see where they are going to, where they are connecting to. So what we usually do is, the formula how we have to use it is also use the full word and see how these reflections reflect on the total of the word. That's basically actually how we should work, how we are thinking with these frequencies, and they can be recognized. Sorry for the small mistake in what I was saying. It was of course clear that we have 1 megahertz or 1000 kilohertz for the basics, the basic frequencies, 2 megahertz or 2000 kilohertz for the body part, where we see most of the frequencies packed together, and the 3 megahertz or 3000 kilohertz, where you can see the beginning of all the frequencies. Wherever they go higher up than more than even 3000 kilohertz or 3 megahertz, but that's where they start. The basics, of course, is as low as possible, even lower than 1 1000 kilohertz or 1 megahertz, and that's the letter A. It's the first letter that we have, where we will push our interpretation as well. There we will see, okay, here we have a basics, we have it in 1 point, but we can continue it. And the second category, that will be with a before and after. And the third category is of course this resonance reflection. So in 1 point, in a certain range, and into a border actually. So these 3 regions can be compared to that idea as well, which I will do also when I use the physical space of the number 1, and I will describe it with the 9 letters. So basically that's what I will do. The first region of, when I will divide it into 3 regions as well, because it's always the 1, 2, 3. So when I have 1 global, and then I will see the details, I have also 3 regions: the center region, the body region, and the edges or the borders region, which will present itself with as a physical reality, with the physical consequences, how it will behave into the physical reality in space. These are the physical positions with 9 letters. The ATK as the first letters, where are they? They are in the first region, so in the center, where I will notice actually just the center position, that's the basics. Or where I will make differences, I will go to the body in T, and I will go to the border in K. I will do that also with helping tools of horizontal, where I can continue to remain in the middle, the vertical, where I can go through the volume, and the K, of course I will go through the volume as well, but I will emphasize the border with the diagonal direction. In the first 9 letters, the points of reference of the concentrating starting points are the most important. The rest is a helping tool. Everything is there all the time that you can use, but the most important thing is there in space. I can derive it to 1 point. How are these 3 letters resumed in frequencies, and why are they the basics? also because they are pretty basic. You can hear them in one point. You don't really, it's just one moment, so you really don't need to pay attention to what's changing over the time. No, it's all in one moment. You can recognize it, and you can resume it visually as well, in the same thing as you can hear it. So the visual and the oral thing can be combined as a kind of synesthesia that you can learn to recognize. It's a pattern that fits completely in its way of association that you need to learn, and that's what my book also about. So the A in one point that you can see there is also the same thing that continues, so you don't have to pay attention to the frequencies that change. They don't change. In one moment you hear this click in T or this click in K, which is a bit different, so you hear differences in the last one, but in one moment you realize these differences already. But that also gives you uncertainty because of there is some change there, and that's the basics of how you associate also the A, T and K further, because the A is it's just like I have my object into a middle point in just one moment and I can continue to use it. The T is like, I recognize here some highlight here, which I can highlight out, so that's also like I recognize something that is there as well. There is something extra, so there is some aspect that I can realize, and that's the way to associate the T. And with the K, realize there is something different, well, some differences. I'm not sure what yet, but that doubt is enough to describe it as the K. The next level, it goes one way up into the physical realm or into the spatial references. So you have also the numbers 1, 2 and 3. So you can use 2 points as a reference, but you can also use it as trying to focus into one point, but where you deal with the second point as well. The second point is extra information, where at this point you're not dealing with it much. You just follow what you can into the one point, and that's how I describe it: horizontally, vertically, diagonally, as U, L and B. And basically you see where they are and also what they present. So it is the second position is the continuation, not the starting point anymore. It's the continuation. That's how you associate it. That's how you use your focus. So you use a continuation in U, where you deal with certain aspects that might change. We give it a little bit of attention, so there might be some change, but we don't know yet. We don't know. We follow what we can. With L also, you follow the highlights at this moment that you realize. Or with B, you follow the changes that you realize there is a change going on. I'd give it a little bit more attention, even there is more going on, but I leave that as an extra option of I know that's there, but I'm not going to pay too much attention to that. I'm just paying attention to what is coming new during the progress of everything, which is a little bit further in progression, in advancement, in development, in materialization mostly, because it's about the physical realm. That's how you have to associate it. And yes, you can recognize these frequencies. The third option is from the first category, is still associated with the physical realm. It's at the borders, at the limits, so it's also about limits. And where do we hear it? Still we try to find it into one point, but it's at the borders, it's somewhat at the borders of what is behaving there, that we are almost not sure that, okay, can we still see everything which is going on there, because there is some things going on here, some variations going on here, but we can still pinpoint it into one point, and that's how I present it here as C, M, and X, and you can also see them comparable in a comparable way to the frequencies in the letters. It's not perfect. I don't have the tools to change it, but so it is a representation of the theory into what you should as a tool to use it to go and recognize what you need.